How can you go to your TikTok history? How do you? Hey, as y'all come in, right? I need to know. I got a question. As y'all come in, how do you get to your TikTok history? I'm trying to find my damn TikTok history. I know you can. I know there's a way you could do this crap. Oh yeah, I got it right here. I got it right here. I got my TikTok history. Let me see. There's a video I'm looking for. Let me see if I can find it. I'm just looking for a video, y'all. This goes right into the subject that I want to talk about today. If I can find it. I think it's on here. I know I saw it on TikTok. Let me see. Hold on. Let me look again. Do. Bear with me 1 second, y'all. I'm just trying to find this video. When I'm coming back on Tony Harvin channel, I think I'm coming back July 3rd. I think we got a battle coming up July 3rd. Damn, I watch a lot of videos on TikTok. You know, it's so easy to scroll up and through the videos. It's crazy. Nah, they ain't. I'm trying to find. Okay, so there's a video. The video that I'm looking for that was on TikTok was, it was with Foolio, and Foolio was bragging about other people that got deleted. And I wanted to get that video because I wanted to play it, right? And I also want to play this clip from Charleston. White man, welcome to Car Chronicles with your boy Captain Tazaryach. Y'all know I've been doing Car Chronicles since 2020. So 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. About 5 years I've been doing Car Chronicles. I actually started doing the Car Chronicles through Facebook first. I was doing Facebook Lives first. I was using Cross the Line Radio channel. And I actually had never utilized, just to give y'all, if y'all don't mind me giving y'all a brief history, I had never utilized my channel except for like commenting and joining in StreamYards. And then I started saying, why don't I build up that platform? Like, why don't I build up the Tazaryach YouTube channel? And so I said I wanted to be slightly different from Cross the Line because I wanted, like, every YouTube channel, like Commander General Yohana's channel is like the CNN for all Israel. Like that's the true black CNN. Because what makes that the true black CNN, because a lot of channels give stories, but he's going to give you, when you watch Commander General Yohana's show, you're going to see not just the stories, you're going to get what God means within the events that's taking place. What does the Bible say about the events taking place, which is important because our life is centered on serving God. Our life is centered on following after Christ. Our life is centered on believing in the Bible. So it's that's his show. Cross the Line is the, all about the battles. You know what I mean? Where that show is geared towards people coming in to cross the line. Now, I can't help it if people don't like crossing the line these days. Like, people don't like coming up and, occasionally we get battles, occasionally, but we don't get battles as much. But we invite it, and I think, and even when some people come in, I think they have such a, I think they're afraid. Or either they be afraid, or because they know of the reputation of getting smashed, they come in either being overhyped, or they don't know how to, challenge a debate or something like that. So when I did the Captain Tazaryach podcast channel, this would be like, I look at this as a combination of Commander Jenny Hanna show, Cross the Line show, and podcasts. So you get a mixture of everything. So sometimes I'm talking about news articles, I'm talking about black issues, I take calls, even bringing Tommy and creating the TNT. That's another element. So that's what the podcast is about. You know what I mean? The podcast is about doing all that, even throwing up Red Pill's interview. I can't wait for the Hip Hop is Real. I can't text him yet. As a matter of fact, let me text. There's an interview I did. I want to shout out my brother, Hip Hop is Real. Hip Hop is Real. I'm going to message him real fast. Hip Hop is Real. Shalom, do you know when you gonna put the video out? I want to shout out Hip Hop is Real. Hip Hop is Real made me feel like, I did an interview with him last Monday, right? And I put out 2 clips of it, 2 little short clips of it. And Hip Hop is Real gave me insight on tweaking like the way I interview people. Like Hip Hop is Real asked me questions, and it's damn near like, I don't want to use the word force because he wasn't forcing it, but he was letting me know where he was trying to go. Like Hip Hop is Real made me delve into my childhood and how I got to this point. Like Hip Hop is Real was pointing on asking me, and the brother's name is Knowledge to God, so I don't want to say he does have. The reason why I'm saying Hip Hop is Real, because if you search him on YouTube, that's his YouTube channel. So his YouTube channel is Hip Hop is Real. His name is Knowledge to God. So he was so pointed, and I appreciated it so much because he wanted to know about like what was it like growing up around my parents, when my mother was there, my father was there. So as he's asking those questions, are we Jewish? No, we ain't no damn Jewish. We the Jews. We the Israelites. We not Jewish. So when hip hop was asking those questions, because when he asked, especially when he asked about fathers, which goes into this Charleston White conversation. So I'm gonna combine these two real fast. I just want to play something by Charleston White, right? I'm gonna play something Charleston White said. Now, what Charleston White is saying is in response to Rick Ross's baby mother losing her mind. And black men and women that have kids with the other don't realize, especially socialites or celebrities. I say socialite because I wouldn't put her in the celebrity category because she doesn't do nothing to be celebrated. She's not a celebrity, but she is a socialite, meaning she's somebody that's social or has fame because of who she has a baby by. And so when you do certain things as parents, we don't realize the effect that it's going to have on the kids because the kids are going to hear it. So I want to play this what Charleston White said in response to what Rick Ross's baby mother was doing. Hold on. Hold on, y'all.
They got a morning, everybody. I just want to say this. Any black woman that got a baby by a black man, that they get online every day and go after your kid's father, you have to remember the things that you say about your children's father, your children's mother. You picked them. You laid down with that person. So as you talk about your children's mother and your father, you're actually talking about your children because they have the same chromosomes. Auntie T. Morning, everybody. I just want to say this. Any black woman that got a baby by a black man, that they get online every day and go after your kid's father, you have to remember the things that you say about your children's father, your children's mother. You picked them. You laid down with that person. So as you talk about your children's mother and your father, you're actually talking about your children because they have the same chromosomes.
Now,
but we don't get battles
no lie,
as much. But we invited, and
there was no lies told in what he said. What he said was, you picked the person you chose to have a child with. And you got to go even deeper than that. You picked the person you chose to have sex with. Whether you the man having sex with this woman or you the woman having sex with that man, you made that decision. You made the decision, had the child with him or her. And the biggest part about that is like when you down the other. So let's say if the black mother, let's say if the mother rather, is disrespecting the father and the child hears that, the child is going to think he ain't going to be shit either. And this is what me and Knowledge was talking about in the interview, because I love, like, my mother. And what's funny is every time I talk about my mother, right, I always say she a funky ass Christian. And I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. It's just like my tongue in cheek, because my mother is a Christian. And at the same time, my mother is the reason why, one of the reasons why I stayed on this path of becoming an Israelite, because when I was in the early stages of learning I was an Israelite, it was my mother that said I should stay on this path. But the part I want to focus on with the parents is that whereas Rick Ross is paying child support, so Rick Ross is paying child support, Rick Ross is taking care of that kid, and she's still disrespecting him and mad because now the child support is over. My mother had a father that was addicted to, had a man or husband that was addicted to heroin, was in and out of our lives, was mentally abusive because of that heroin, was physically abusive to me, beating the hell out of me. And I never heard my mother utter an evil word against my father. My sister never heard it. My brother never heard it. It was three of us. And as we were growing up, we never heard my mother utter an evil word about my father. We actually would hear the opposite. When I got older, and I know, and me growing up, I would see like other mothers and other fathers just disrespecting, the parents and stuff like that. And so when I got older, I asked my mother, I said to my mother, why, I was like, Daddy used to treat you the way he treats you, why you ain't never say, like, and here's what my mother said. And this is such an excellent wisdom for her. I don't know how she had the courage to do this. I don't even know how she had the strength to do this, but this is what my mother told me. My mother said the reason why she never said nothing evil about my father to us is because she said no matter what my father was, she wanted our opinion of him to be our own. She didn't want to influence that opinion by letting us know how she felt about my father. So she said, when I was in that room, she said, I cried about your father. I cussed your father out. I was angry that your father was leaving. I had to be ridiculed by my family. All of that for choosing him, for being with him, for taking him back, for staying with him. But y'all was never going to see that, because then if I did that and then you hated your father, it would be because of what I did. She wanted us to know if we loved our father, hated our father, was indifferent about our father, it's because of what we said. And that was heavy. And that's what we missing. Like, fathers and mothers should have that mind state. Whatever it is in that relationship that caused y'all to break up, that caused you to have such venom, you shouldn't let your kids be influenced by that. If a child hears the father dissing their mother all day, the child is there's father, I'm gonna just cover both of them. If the child hears the parent dissing the hell out of their mother or father, that child is either gonna hate their mother or father because of it, or that child is gonna hate you, because if they love their mother or father, they're gonna hate you for talking about their mother or father. And me personally, now I'll tell you how I felt about my father growing up. Like, my father was like physically abusive. Like, he would beat the hell out and punish me and shit like that. But I loved the hell out of my father. And I always wanted, no matter what my father did, I always wanted my father. Like, I couldn't understand, like, where's daddy at? I want daddy back. I'll just give you another story. There was a time where, so we had moved from Jersey City. We moved to 17 Stegman Street. We was living in Roselle. Oh, listen, I could tell y'all some horror stories. So I'll tell y'all the true horror story, right? So when we moved from Roselle to Jersey City, this is what I thought, right? So I'm gonna give y'all some insight. And the reason, and if everybody ever want to understand why I give people insight, because what I'm about to tell y'all could be horrific to some, it's a blessing to me. And I'll tell you why. The reason why I give y'all this insight, because if I could tell y'all what I've been through and then other brothers and sisters went through the same thing, you'll see that the Lord is with you no matter what. And maybe there's a reason why you went through what you went through. So I'm going to tell y'all how we got from Roselle to Jersey City. So I'm living in Roselle, New Jersey. My father was a dope fiend. And when I say my father was a dope fiend, my father sold the car. My father sold to get dope, to get heroin. My father sold his car. Sold the car, so now my mother and them all lose the car. So my mother would hide the money from my father because my father had a horrible heroin addiction. And so now I'm gonna give you my version. This is my version of how we got to Jersey City, and then I'm gonna tell you what I was told was the true version. So my version of moving to Jersey City was me and my uncle Dexter, me, my sister, and all us, we coming from the candy store. As we coming from the candy store, I see my mother come downstairs, my aunt come downstairs, my father angry and yelling and stuff like that. My grandparents come and they say we moving y'all to Jersey City. That's my version. As I got older and I tell my sister the story, because my sister, I got a twin sister. My sister remembers everything. And so my sister says, no, that's not how we moved to Jersey City. We moved to Jersey City because mommy was hiding the money and daddy wanted to get the money to get high. My mother wouldn't give him the money and he hung me out a window or to get the money. So I was hung out of a window to get money for for my father to get high. And because my father hung me out a window, my grandparents came and we moved to Jersey City. That's how we got to Jersey City. That's what my mother told me. So that's what my sister told me. So now, when we get now, I don't remember none of this stuff that I'm telling you. I don't remember that happening to me. My childhood is like extremely foggy because of the physical abuse like that. So my childhood, like there's some things I'm gonna remember, some things I don't remember. My sister, not anymore, but my sister, because she remembers all of that, because we were twins. So to give you how my father would treat my sister, at night, my father would take my sister, bring her in the room. They would stay up late, watching TV, eating candy and all that kind of shit. He had me in the bed doing all type of shit, man. So, and I ain't said, and to Lighthouse, when it says failure to remember is an indicator of trauma. No, I wouldn't. I do agree about the trauma part. I don't want to say failure to remember because it's not that I don't want to remember. I just don't remember. So I ain't even doing it on purpose because I be trying to remember. And then sometimes when my sister would tell me stories, I would remember some of the stories, right? So now we get to Stegman Street, right? So when we get to Stegman Street, my father comes back, my mother lets him back in the house, and I'm trying to, still trying to build this relationship with my father. And one night, my father decides, my mother and father get into an argument. My mother kicks him out. And so he says, okay, if you kicking me out, I'm taking the kids with me. Now, here's a crazy, so as my mother, so like to try to give y'all a visual, it's a two-story apartment. So you got a downstairs, you got an upstairs. So we're like not in the front of the house, we're in the back of the house. So you know how like the back of the house can have a way to get upstairs and downstairs. So my father is at the downstairs door to leave. And so he's telling me, Taronda, and Stephen to come with him. My mother is saying, y'all go upstairs with your aunt, right? So my sister and brother, my sister and brother like, bet that, mama, you said go upstairs? And says, so they went right upstairs. My crazy ass, I'm stuck. Like I don't know should I go down with my father? Now, mind you, this is the craziest part that I never really understood this till I got in the truth. So now, my retarded self is saying, should I go with my father because I love my father? Like, I love my father. I love my father to this day. So it's like, should I go down to be with my father, or should I go upstairs and listen to my mother? When I say I stood there the whole time, my aunt had to actually come and get me to take me upstairs. I didn't want to go. I couldn't even make the decision of who to be with, my father or my mother. Now, even with all of that, my mother still never said no evil shit about my pops. And then, so we moved from 17 Stegman Street, we moved to Woodlawn. So we moved to Woodlawn, some time passed. My father cleaned himself up. And when my father was clean, and I think this is where my mother probably had this love for my father, because when my father was clean, my father was like the best father. Like, my father was a man that he was wise, almost like what I do now. Like, he would give counsel to people, advice to people. He would listen. My father would whoop ass whether he was high or not. So my father was really nothing to play with. And I think my mother always saw that part in my father. Like, my mother had a dedication to my father that is unmatched in love, to be honest, if I had to be honest. Because I don't know, when I tell this story, most women will say she wasn't shit, she should have left him. She shouldn't have stayed with him. She shouldn't have forgave him or anything like that. And I think my mother's a testament to love. Like in 1 Corinthians 13, when it says charity suffereth long, my mother is the definition of charity. My mother is a definition of love to what she married to. So she married that man, and when he was clean and got herself together, she stuck with him. When he was messed up, she was like, I can't deal with this, you got to go. So my father comes back. My father saved my life. So in this context, so when my father comes back again, I was cutting up in school. I was like real reckless, real wild, running in gangs and shit like that. And so my mother gets my father. I ain't really want to go to school. I was smart to a detriment, to be honest with you. So like when we was younger, I didn't think I was going to go into this, but I'll go into it. So me and my sister, when we was young, they tested us. So we was always smart. Like in kindergarten, not kindergarten, I don't want to go that young, but like in like the 2nd or 3rd grade when they tested us, we was testing at like high school levels. So I was always smart, but my smarts came like that. Like I'm just smart like that. I didn't really, so studying, because I knew I didn't have to study, I ain't really care. And like the class, they would say about me in class is like, if they gave us classwork in class, when I would finish the work, I would then just be a class clown. You had to keep something to keep my attention. Like if you couldn't keep my attention, I'm gonna do something else. So when they got to high school and now I'm in the gangs, if the gang didn't go to school, I didn't go to school. So what happened to me in my junior year, I got expunged from school, meaning I couldn't go to a school in the state of New Jersey anymore. And my mother kicked me out the house. My mother kicked me out the house, man. This when I found out my friends, this when I started questioning if I had friends right here. So my mother kicked me out the house. She said, you can't come back in the house. And so I tell my homies, I said, man, my mother kicked me out the house. What we gonna do? They said, man, we gonna stay right with you. So they ain't giving me no place to stay. And slowly, as it got more into the night, my friends start disappearing. So now it's just me. And my mother comes outside. I'm all on the damn porch, all cold, shivering. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna go and shit like that. And my mother let me back in the house. And it was because of my father that my mother let me back in the house. That right there was like the changing part. No, expunged, not expelled is like you can go to another school. I couldn't go to another school in the state of New Jersey. So whatever that is, it wasn't expelled. So I got expelled from Snyder High School. But I couldn't get expelled from Snyder High School and then go to Ferris. I couldn't go to what was it? So the high schools in Jersey City was Marist, that was a Catholic school. St. Mary's, Catholic school. The public schools was Snyder, Ferris, Dickinson. So I couldn't go to any of those schools. So my mother bring me back in the house. I found out that it's my father. So it was two people at this time now. It was my father and my uncle. And so through them, I started, changing and cleaning myself up and stuff like that. And so my point in saying all of this, all through that, my mother contacted my father to get me right. My mother didn't say, wait, one more part. So as I'm going through all of this, my grandfather and my mother gets into an argument over me. And so I'm listening to them argue. And my grandfather says to my mother, he ain't gonna be shit because his daddy wasn't shit. And so my mother, instead of my mother agreeing with my grandfather, my mother is sitting there saying, no, he is gonna be something. He is gonna do this. And hearing my mother say that, because I didn't think my father was shit. Like at this time, I didn't think my father was shit at all. I thought he was he was good, but he was gone. He was a drug addict. I used to have to hear when my homies would come and say, yo, your father was fighting up here. Your father's doing this. Like I got to hear all the drug stories from my homies. And so I didn't think my father was shit. And so hearing my mother defend me and my father to her father, it changed my life. So when Charleston White makes that statement and say, and I apologize if y'all feel I'm being long-winded, but these are important, because if my mother can do that, that changed my whole perspective. It helped me to have compassion on my father, like real rap. So like from that moment, I said, well, damn, I'm saying to myself, because like I'm 16 or 17 at this moment when she's having this conversation. And I say to myself, I said, if my mother, who going through all this hell with my father, is still defending my father, I don't know why she defended me. Because I'm a straight up wasted talent at this moment. The reason why I say I'm wasted talent, I got accepted to this school called Academic. I believe they changed the name in Jersey City now, but it used to be called Academic. Me and my sister both got accepted to Academic, which was like this prestigious high school. And I'll never forget, we in the auditorium, me and my mother, and Academic, they said, yeah, we give 3 hours of homework every day. I looked right at my mother and said, Ma, I ain't going to that school. 3 hours of homework? I'm not going there. And when I tell you 3 hours of homework, because my sister and my cousin, so my cousin Lauren and my sister Taronda, they went to Academic. And when I tell you it was 3 hours of homework every day, it was 3 hours of homework every day. My sister would come home, go in her room, and she wasn't coming out till about 6 o'clock. Now she done with the homework. I couldn't do. Now, in retrospect, I should have did it. Because I was accepted. I went in there, but I wanted to go with the fellas. And hanging with the fellas is how I got into all that nonsense. And so it was beautiful, because now I start having a compassion on my father. Now I started being able to live a life of my father, because I felt like I should pattern myself after my father, but my father was messed up. And so my mother having that compassion changed my thought process of my father. And that's the power parents have over children, and you don't even realize it. When it says you're their first teachers, when you're their role models, everything you do, they see. There's not nothing that you do as a parent to your child that they don't see. If you smoking cigarettes, they see that. You smoking weed, they see that. You're an alcoholic, they see that. You curse a lot, they see that. What you watch, they see that. All the things that you do, they see. How you hang out, how you dress, how you talk. Every single thing you do. How you talk about their mother. How you talk about their father. They see all. I got a stepson. You know what my stepson told me? My stepson put a damn bird. I'm saying stepson just for this point, because I don't call him my stepson. I always call him my son. I'm only saying that so I can tell y'all something. My stepson put a burden on me That was absolutely insane. But I took the charge. My stepson asked me one time, he said, can you get my mother and father to stop arguing? And I said, God damn. Now he might have been 8 at the time. He might have been 8. But because he asked me to do that, I said, I'll do it. So now I got to mediate between the two of them to make sure that they don't argue, because this boy was fucked up with them arguing. And so I do it, because you don't realize parents can be selfish as hell, because parents care about their feelings more than they care about the child's feelings. And that's not what life is supposed to be about. Life is supposed, if you have a child, your life is over. Why do you think, the reason why when people can't wait for their kids to be 18 is because they feel like when the child gets 18, now they're free of the burden. Even that's not really true. That's your child forever. The burden is less as you get older. As they get older. So as they get older, your burden is less, because now they getting a job now, so they can kind of take care of themselves. But your life is over. Your life is about that kid. How they eat, how they dress, how they think, how they talk, their level of intelligence, not intelligent, their understanding of life. All of that is your responsibility. If that child doesn't have a moral compass, it's your fault. If that child becomes addicted to drugs, that's your fault. If that child gets touched, it's your fault. Everything about that child is your responsibility. And you know how you get it in return? And this is how you know the Bible is so powerful. You get it in return when the scriptures say, honor your mother and father. What we're supposed to do as children, when our parents get old, you notice when a parent gets older, they become like the child. That's the cycle of life. Because now as they get older, so now imagine when your parents get like in their 50s and their 60s, their faculties ain't there. They ain't sharp as a tack as they was when they was younger. They probably can't work like they could. So now they need the care from you that you gave to them. That's how the cycle of life works. You don't believe me? When you look at an onion, when the onion is dying, you can see a new onion forming. That's the cycle of life. So as the cycle of life of a parent to child, the parent takes care of the child first. The child takes care of the parent later. That's what honor your mother and father means. And even in death, even if you got a horrible mother or father, you should still honor them, because if for anything, this is gonna be the end. I'm almost ended. I'm almost done, y'all. If for anything, you honor your mother and father, because if you don't honor your mother and father, then you're saying you're the mistake. Now just think about that. If you're born into this world, then you're not a mistake, even if someone tells you you're the mistake. Going through hell is it's like going through troubles and all that stuff. Let me read this scripture for y'all. Let me read this, right? This is a scripture I'm gonna read for y'all. If I could just sidebar, you can hit that super chat, you can hit that Cash App. I got 25% off sale. And I didn't expect to talk about all this, but Charleston White saying that made me say all of this. And I think this be important because parents don't really be understanding. So now you might think going through hell is a bad thing. I'm going to tell you what the Lord say. This is, if anybody tells you when I talk to them, if this ain't the introduction to the truth breakdown, it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Like, you ain't supposed to be, like, we look at if you going through hard times, like it's a bad thing. No, it's a lesson in everything. There's a lesson in the bad things you go through. There's a lesson in the good things you go through. You got to serve the Lord regardless. And this is why. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. We are the gold of the Most High. That's what we are. But now, in order to get the gold, You got to go through the fire. And if you're not willing to go through the trials that are set forth before you, then you're not good gold. You bad gold. I'm good gold. And I'll go through the fire, I'll go through the trials, and I look at everything that I went through in my life prepare me for the truth. Because now, when y'all be wondering why, y'all think about everything that I just told y'all. When y'all wonder why, when people say crazy stuff to me, it don't bother me. When y'all wonder why, when people get threaten me and all of this stuff like that, I got hung out a window. My father one time told me, we sitting at this dinner table. And as we sitting at the dinner table, my father's at the table. My father says to my brother and sister, my father said, Stephen and Taronda, tell Tyree you don't love him. That's what my father said. So now I'm listening to my father tell my brother and sister to tell me that they don't love me. And then my brother and sister has to say it because my father is telling them to say it. So now my brother and sister say, Tyree, we don't love you. So now, as they say that, this is why I'm unbothered when people talk to me. Because in my brain, ain't nobody gonna say anything worse than what my father said to me. So whatever it is that you got to say to me is not gonna bother me. So if y'all want to know, because every time I talk to anybody in the UPK, anybody in the world, anybody, they say, here's what they say. They say, Cap, man, I don't know how you can sit there and listen to them say this. I don't know how you can sit there and listen to them do this. I don't know how you can. And my brain, I always say, it's because you ain't going to say nothing worse than my father. And if I survived my father, not only did I survive my father, I became my father. I forgave my father. When me and my father's dead now, or deleted now. My father was deleted in November 29th of 2009. Oh, here's the other spiritual part. Now, here's what's spiritual. Think now. Remember I said what you go through, the Most High wants you to go through. Y'all want me to show y'all how spiritual it is? With everything that I said about my father. I came into the truth November 29th, 2009. On November 29th, 2009 is when I'm having a conversation with my mother about a dream that I had. The dream that I had was, I'm in the dream, I'm going into a house. When I open the door to the house, it's my house. So I'm going home. But when I open the door, it doesn't look like my house. So because it doesn't look like my house, I leave the house. So I go up to a train. So now I'm going to a train because I'm leaving that house. I'm like, that ain't my house. So I'm going to the train. As I'm walking up the stairs to get on the train, it's an old black man with these black eyes. And he says, where you going? I said, I'm getting on the train. That's not my house. He says, yes, that is your house. Go back home. So I don't know what this dream means. So me and my mother is in Home Depot. And as we're in Home Depot, I'm telling my mother about the dream. Now, my mother already knows that I'm looking up this information for the Israelites and stuff like that. And so I'm telling my mother about the dream. And so my mother says, well, you know, that probably means that, you should keep doing, what you're doing. You should stay on this journey. And so I said to my mother, I said, on this day, I said, I know it ain't phony because it's going to sound crazy. So I said to my mother, I said, well, this day I give my life to Christ. This was November 29th, 2009. And my mother hit me with something so heavy. She said, you know, this is the day that your daddy died. And I didn't know that was the day that my daddy died. The day that my daddy died to me, in my brain was always December because the funeral was in December. So my memory was always December. So now think of how spiritual that is. The day that I gave my life to Christ is the day that my daddy died. And I didn't even know that. So that's my rebirth. So now what I can do is bring respect to my father's name that he couldn't bring. My business's name. What's the name of my business? The name of my business is Carl Gas Creations. Carl is my father. So now I could give reverence to his name. So for all you brothers and sisters that in your mind had a horrible daddy, Resurrect your daddy. Let me get that scripture. This is where is it? It's Ecclesiasticus, right? Hold on, let me see. This is Ecclesiasticus, the 3rd chapter. It says, hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter that ye may be safe. For the Lord hath given the father honor over the children, and hath confirmed authority over the mother over the sons. Whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for sins, and he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure. Whoso honoreth his father shall have joy of his own children, and when he maketh his prayer, he shall be heard. He that honoreth his father shall have a long life, and he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. He that feareth the Lord will honor his father, and will do service unto his parents as to his masters. Honor thy father and mother, both in word and deed, that a blessing may come upon thee from them. Verse 10, glory not in the dishonor of thy father, for thy father's dishonor is no glory unto thee. If you allow your father to be dishonored, then you're dishonoring yourself, because you carry on the name of your father. You carry on that reputation. So we could either be the end of the curse, or we could be the beginning of the blessing. What I chose to be was the beginning of the blessing. What I just read was Ecclesiasticus, the 3rd chapter. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Remember to honor your father, honor your mother. And if you a child of messed up parents, you can reverse the curse and be the blessing. Shalom.